Wrestle Kingdom week is officially underway. Jeremy Finestone is in Japan right now, joining us from Tokyo. In fact, the Tokyo Dome Hotel itself. We're very excited to hear about how his trip has been so far, and there have been some very interesting events already taking place here on Wrestle Kingdom week, as almost every promotion is running a major show in Tokyo over the course of these 7 days. We've already had really interesting stuff from Noah, from Stardom, from All Japan, and we're going to talk about that and any last-minute thoughts as the big event approaches on January 4th. So with Jeremy Finestone from Tokyo, I'm Steven Conway, and this is Speaking of Strong Style. Welcome, everyone. Mokiyobi des. Happy New Year. It is Thursday, and it is time for Speaking of Strong Style. And I'm, again, Jeremy Finestone from Tokyo. I'm Steven Conway. We're contributors to the Fight Game Media Network, and terribly excited to be here today on New Year's. Had a nice little quiet New Year's in last night and listened to the fireworks. Our neighborhood's big on fireworks. Had that. And Jeremy, I'm excited to see you. We have, knock on wood, we have a pretty decent connection going here too. We weren't sure how that was going to. So, sir,
hi.
I'll just start with the most basic question you got. How's Tokyo been so far for you? First
Tokyo's
trip.
Been great. Tokyo's been a really good time. I flew out Monday, but I arrived, I think, the 30th, Tuesday around 5:00, and I didn't know my ass from the hole in the ground in this place, so I was basically like navigating everything from just getting out of customs to navigating the metro. I got some good tips ahead of time to download a Tokyo map offline and do the Suica mobile, which is, I guess you pay 7-Eleven, Lawson, Metro, all like daily activity stuff. You can just basically transact to this. So
a lot of restaurants.
Underway.
A lot of quick service restaurants take that as well. It comes in extraordinarily handy. They're two different kinds, Suica and Pasmo, and they do about the same things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you basically load money onto the card and you can spend it in so many different places. It keeps you from having to carry currency. You know, it's incredibly helpful and versatile.
Yeah. So Tuesday night I felt, the most authentic normal night for Japan so far, because the next night was New Year's Eve, there was a bit of a celebration outside the Tokyo Dome, which you can see is right behind me.
Yeah,
actually.
You can kind of catch the edge of it over your shoulder.
Of the dome is right behind me from my hotel room. They had a concert there and a little outdoor festival, so I was able to just kind of partake in New Year's Eve festivities from the luxury of my hotel room, because I'm not much of a drinker or anything like that. And so it's whatever, another year. I think instead of being good to 2026 should be good to us. That should be the mentality of the world. But yeah, I've had a really good time. I'm about to go to the Abritas thing with Chris Charlton and Walker Stewart during their podcast later today, and going to connect with some folks that I've been meaning to connect with. Yesterday I went to the Noah show, and I was sitting ringside for that, and we can recap that in a few minutes. But on the whole, I've had a really good time. There's a little bit of culture shock right out the gate. I was telling you about kind of privately, but it's fine. And you just kind of assimilate with how the culture works, and you're going to be fine. If you try and be your own man and some other culture, it's not going to end well. But respect the people here, and respect the culture, and respect the way they do things, and you're not going to have a problem at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And people there are extraordinarily kind, I have found, whenever I've been in Japan there. So tell us a little bit. You mentioned the Noah show. What else have you done in Japan during your time there? How have you been spending your days?
Well, I have been sleeping all that well. So off and on, just trying to catch a nap here or there. But on the 31st, I spent the majority of the day in Akihabara, which is a major shopping thoroughfare with about as much nerd crap that you could possibly imagine, including suitcases and model toys and a lot of porn, a lot of casinos.
Yeah, it's a little bit. There's a seedy edge to Akihabara as well. Now, if you are into manga or anime, it's also heaven for you, because there's that stuff. Yeah, but you're right.
There's there to check out with just kind of like see this or that. And I found a little New Japan pop-up shop where I was able to buy a little bit of merch because Tokon Shop and Tutakon were closed for the New Year's Eve and New Year's Day festivities because in Japan, it's not a party holiday. It's more of a family holiday and more like a reflection and just not that mentality that, you know, go out and blow your fingers off with fireworks kind of thing. There's like one big fireworks display for all of Japan, and that's how they went with it. So I've had a really good time. I'm about halfway through my trip. You know, I got here on Monday, Tuesday, and I fly back out on Monday, and here we are. It's Friday for me over here, while it's Thursday for you guys. Right. So just trying to parse that. I'm just gonna enjoy what I can and try to make the memories, my man.
Absolutely. And of course, Ebritas is Toru Yano's bar in the Tokyo Dome city area. That is where Chris and Walker are setting up shop for their live event, their live podcast. But when you hear about Toru Yano owning a bar, that's it. It's called Ebritas. It's not too far, walking distance from Tokyo Dome and Korakuen Hall in that whole neighborhood. So that's where you're headed in just a few hours, right? I mean, just not long after this, you're going to head over there.
Yeah, I got a full day, man. I got up a little early. I got up about 7:30 in Japan right now. So we're going to do this for however long we're going to do this. And I'm going to walk down the street to the Tokon shop and get whatever I need to get from there. And then I'm going to head back here, drop it off, jump on the metro and head over there. And so the adventure continues.
Yeah, so we're going to take a look at this. There's not a lot of news. It's been quiet on the New Japan front. Not a lot of last-second additions to anything. So we're going to look over the Tokyo Dome card one more time, of course. But if you heard our preview last week with and in the past with keeping it strong style, that was a couple weeks ago. Last Thursday, we just did a little talk about just the latest and a couple of things that have been added in from the Christmas Korakuens. I want to thank everybody who tuned in to the Dave Meltzer interview, the special one we did with Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer newsletter. That one's done a lot of views, and we're grateful for that.
It'll be evergreen too. Check it out. Keep checking it out. If you don't know about it, we got that Meltzer interview that we dropped on Monday, and we're really proud of it. We thought it was a really good conversation. I got really good feedback from it. Yeah,
absolutely. And it is a look back at Tanahashi's career. Like you said, evergreen. It's something that covers the early part of his career when he was the icon, the biggest star, the rather the dangerous situation he was in with his girlfriend, where he was stabbed, and it kind of caused a bit of a national news, and then of course the challenges that face him as president. So it's a really wide-ranging conversation. Really encourage everybody to go back and check that out on the Fight Game Network. So so you've been to Noah. What's your next show?
I will do the DDT show at Korakuen tomorrow night.
Very cool.
Which I have no idea what's on the card. I just wanted to go to Korakuen, and that was the easiest show for me to get a ticket to.
Oh, there you have it. So, yeah, and you used was that the one you used buysumotickets.com for?
Yeah, and it was waiting for me. The ticket was waiting for me when I checked in. Some dude walked up to me. It was like, Jeremy Headstone or Finestone? Yeah. And
close
I
enough.
was like, yeah. And they're like, here you go. And I'm like, oh yeah, I completely forgot about it, but they didn't. They were waiting for me, and so it was there. And now I've got in a little envelope that I'm trying to make sure I don't lose, because you got to treat that stuff like cash apparently. And
yes,
and all that stuff.
It's they actually use paper tickets. Like, that's one thing with that. They haven't done a whole lot of as much in Japan. Like, a lot of the stuff is digital now here in the States. I used to collect ticket stubs, for one thing. Like, I loved collecting ticket stubs, have entire books of them. I go to a lot of shows, music, theater, whatever else. I don't get a lot of tickets anymore. It's all an app on my phone that gets scanned, and I don't really get to have the stub anymore. In Japan, you get all that stuff. So I enjoyed that part of it. I'm going to make a little display of my ticket stubs from the shows I've been to in Japan, because you actually get to keep the stubs. But they do treat that the same way that we used to here with the tickets, and that's how they still do things physically with that. And I was telling somebody that you were having those tickets sent to your hotel, and they just said, man, that I would never want to trust that there. And I just said, I bet in Japan they show up exactly when they say they're going to happen. The precision in Japan is quite something to behold if you're not used to it from the States. We're used to good enough with service.
You remember
good
the
enough.
end of Back to the Future 2, where like Marty McFly comes back from traveling in time, and this dude shows up out of nowhere. It's like, are you Marty McFly? And it's like, yeah, it's like, we had a bet in the office that you wouldn't be here. This letter's been waiting for you for 80 years, and it was going to show up today. That's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah, and it's not, we're so used to good enough, like I mentioned, where if it works 8 out of 10 times, that's good enough. That'll do it. In Japan, 10 out of 10. They will work 10 out of 10 times. And so, yeah,
I
wasn't
nervous, but it was one of those trust the process, man. Like, you don't hear about things like this going wrong when other people do it, so why would it go wrong for you?
Yeah, very true, very true. Oh, and I see you found the Tokyo Dome area Starbucks as well.
I did. When I got finally to my hotel room on Tuesday night, I was so turned around that I just went to a McDonald's and got some chicken nuggets for dinner. But it was also really interesting because you got to see how they package something to go, in Japan, which is way different. Like the soda is packed in its own bag that goes inside the bag, and you have all this stuff because the consideration for littering or keeping the streets clean is so prevalent here that I can't help but applaud it. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I'm on board with this. Let's keep these streets clean. Yes,
and it's funny. In Tokyo especially, you see almost no litter, and they don't have trash cans on the street. That people just carry their stuff around. And now there are trash cans, by the way, you hear about that. There are no trash cans in Tokyo. No, they're just not out on the street corners.
They're strategically placed, and most of the stuff is adjacent to whatever food.
Train stations have them, convenience stores have them, and all that stuff. But yeah, there is a culture of you take your stuff and that you accumulate throughout the day, and it either goes in pocketbook or your pockets and things, and you toss it out when you can. It's not a thing where every place has to have an overflowing trash receptacle, which is nice. It's they do everything a little bit better, I think, when it comes to that stuff.
There is an efficiency here that is somewhat unstoppable.
We got to get. Hopefully, you'll be filling up to getting some ramen before you leave there, because
I'll do at least one bowl of ramen. I gotta. I guess there's the dojo meal is being served at Abrita. It's like the chanku or
they're having chanko. Yeah. Okay,
they got an open bar in chanko. I think that's going to be a great combination.
Depending on who makes it, it can be really good. It can be
really
good. Yeah, chanko. It's the chanko, for those of you. This is the soup that a lot of dojos use, both in sumo and in pro wrestling. The dojo system, where it's a bunch of guys living together and training together. Chanko is there's variations of it. It's basically a soup or a stew, a lot of cabbage, a lot of pork, usually served with rice, and it's to fill you up for your calorie burn. The idea is you eat chanko, you're going to be burning those calories right back off. If you eat a lot of chanko and you don't work out, you're going to get very big indeed. But and in the wrong way, it's supposed to be it's a traditional stew for guys that are in heavy calorie burns and doing heavy physical activity afterwards. So you have your chanko, then you do your workouts and stuff like that. But of course, usually prepared by the youngest people in the stable who get stuck with all the chores, right? It becomes a point of pride to add your own little twist to it or a signature to it. And it's a point of pride to be making good chanko. I make the best chanko as a brag. And the other guys are just like, mine's better than yours. Give me that. But so hopefully you get somebody good making yours. But
I think they're probably going to put a pretty solid effort, since this is a majority like foreign crowd that is probably trying to get some sense of authenticity here.
So yeah, do we want to just start looking at the Noah show now, or is there anything else about your Japan trip you want to talk about? I know you're going to go to the Tokan shop, so we're going to have to talk about that eventually. You're going to go to Tudo-Okan, so we'll have to talk about that eventually. Anything else from your trip that we want to cover before? No, I'm happy to listen to it before we go into that show.
Honestly, I just want to shout out the people that I met so far.
Please.
Met a guy named Adam who lives in New York that has gone to a couple of these over the last few years. He was a really nice guy. My buddy Miguel came with me to the Noah show last night. I speak of Miguel Rubio quite a few times. And then one of my friends threw another like series of things that has nothing to do with wrestling. Was already in Japan. He's a screenwriter for anime, and he was the one that got us our tickets for the Noah show. And Pete Cooper was a really great guy, and I was really glad to meet him. So I wanted to shout him out as well. We have the Hub's British Pub meetup on Sunday before Wrestle Kingdom with Keeping It Strong Style, Super J Cast, and We Weren't Stiff. We Weren't Stiff actually put out their Stiffmas this year, in which we contributed to that, as well as I took a bit of that Dave Meltzer interview that we did, and I let them cut it in and use it as part of the Tanahashi analysis. And I'm looking forward to meeting all of them. And we are going to come back after Wrestle Kingdom at the same time, to do the recap while I'm in Japan. So everyone make sure that you keep your eyes out for that special episode that will likely be dropping, I guess, Sunday for you?
Yes.
Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, Sunday in the States. It'll be Sunday afternoon or evening, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday, January 4th here in the United States. That's when that'll come out. So 2:30 back in the West and 4:30 here and blah, blah, blah. But yes, we will be doing a recap show at our usual time. So whatever time you normally listen to this, you can listen to our show on Sunday, recapping all the action for the Tokyo Dome. Jeremy will be in there with his bags packed, ready to check out. But he'll be joining us because that will be the next morning for you. But we'll get it here on our show same day. So
same bat time, same bat channel. If we're doing
whether you stay up all night to watch the show or you get some sleep and catch it when you wake up, you can then tune in to Speaking of Strong Style, and we'll break it all down for you.
That's exactly how it's supposed to work. And then, is there anything else that I am thinking of? Am I forgetting? Am I blah, 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 blah? Thanks for everyone that's checking in today. It's New Year's Day for you guys here. So if you are checking out our show and, nursing the hangover and whatever it is that you did on New Year's, thank you for joining us. And the only last thing that I got is that if you are joining us for the first time, or you're checking us out after the Dave Meltzer interview, and you want to converse with us more, I am on the Fight Game Media Discord, and you can have a conversation with us there. You can email me at speakingofstrongstyle@gmail.com, and we can get you in there if you so like, because from NorCal.
Yeah, NorCal is checking in, saying Happy New Year's, and Happy New Year's to all of you as well. Glad you're joining us there. So nice to hear from you. Okay.
So, that's all the news that fit to print. So I think that's everything. My wife's texting me about a blanket that she's cleaning the house right now. So I'm navigating a whole lot right now.
Oh, okay, there you go. A lot going on. And of course, Brad's with us. Hey, Brad, good to see you. He says, hey, fellas, Happy New Year. Hope you're having a great trip so far, Jeremy. It sounds like he is indeed enjoying it.
I hope you enjoyed that AEW Dynamite. I saw the spoilers for that one, and I felt like that show was right up your alley, Brad. So a wonderful 2026 has begun right for you, and I'm happy for you. And all the best to your family, and all the best to all the families and all the people checking in and listening to the show today. And I do want to say I hope that 2026 is prosperous for everybody.
Very nice. Let's talk a little bit about AEW, because two of the main protagonists of the show you're going to be seeing live and in person, Jeremy, and the rest of us will be watching on Sunday. Konosuke Takeshita and Kazuchika Okada did indeed meet in the Continental Classic, as we all figured. It was in the semifinals, but I did not see the match. I'm out on American wrestling for the time being. I'll get back into it eventually, but for now I'm out. And I read about the recap of it, though, because I was curious to see how they would handle the situation. I have to say, I think they handled it about as well as they could. It sounds like it was a good match. Okada won it by using the screwdriver from Don Callis, so that kind of protects Takeshita. So Takeshita did lose, but, however, he was cheated. He was cheated, and I do feel like that protected him a little bit. Was that the impression you had watching it, or did you have a different view?
So the recap does not quite do justice to how it was executed on the show. It was perhaps one of the worst botches of a big match finish that it could be, because there was a lot of thought put into the screwdriver because it was tied into the next match as well. However, when Okada got it and tried to attack Takeshita with it, what they didn't tell you is that the ref botched it, and so he saw the screwdriver but had to act like it didn't, and it all went wrong, even though the idea was sound. Like the match was very, very good, but I have to say it was slightly disappointing because of we didn't get that quite clean finish that you feel like you would have gotten had the match been in Japan. Like it was very much a Western style finish where you're saving a little bit and you have your out or whatever it is, so you can run it back later on. The reality is that the Jon Moxley versus Kyle Fletcher match that directly followed it blew it out of the water.
Oh wow!
And that was not something I was expecting to happen. And a lot of it was, what the people I was watching it with was, okay, who is more important that you make sure is healthy and can do 2 matches and won't jeopardize anything in the Tokyo Dome. And the consensus we reached is that Takeshita wrestles way too aggressively and recklessly to risk doing a second match on the same show. But Okada wrestles in such a way where you can kind of do that, and it's a bit more psychological with physicality. And so when he ended up having the second match with Moxley, it didn't go as long as the first one. It went about, I think it went 20. The first one went a little bit longer. And he had a long night that night, but you saw that both guys were neither in the spotlight for this show, which kind of frees them up to, whatever narrative that they want at the Tokyo Dome. But we got a completely surprising finish in the C2, which was Jon Moxley winning the whole thing. And, when you're looking at the pay-per-view card before the show started, you're like, Jon Moxley might win this thing. was kind of the reality. And, we were all advocating for Takeshita and Okada to be in the finals of the C2 because that feud's basically been building for 14 months, right? When they made it to semi, I didn't like it at first, but I also thought about the fact that you've then taken something that seemed like a foregone conclusion, and then you got something completely fresh in the finals, which Okada versus Moxley's never happened before. And it was good, and I know that they're going to run it back. And when it was over, it's like, holy shit, Moxley just beat Okada clean in the middle of the ring. He is, in fact, the ace of AEW. And I don't think the loss affected Okada at all. I don't think the loss affected Takeshita at all. I don't think it has any bearing to how people are going to perceive them at Wrestle Kingdom on Sunday. I kind of think as big as AEW is, this show was an afterthought because this Tanahashi thing is just overtaking everything. It's just such a big deal.
Well, Brad said that the match regarding Okada and Takeshita was really solid, and the idea of the finish was good, but the execution was not good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it's just he's agreeing, and
I'm a smart guy. That's what
we've talked about. I've mentioned it before because I just have never seen a national promotion with a worse refereeing crew than the absolute car full of clowns that AEW has, who are either incompetent, look at me, bunch of preening peacocks trying to distract from the match they're in, or are absolute dangers to the wrestlers. We have seen some of these morons do things and botch finishes because it wasn't the finish. Well, you should give him another pile driver. He seems concussed. And a lot of these morons shouldn't be allowed actual professional wrestling, let alone the ones that are just kind of preening around the ring, trying to get you to look at them during the matches. It's the worst crew on earth. And once again, they blow another major finish in an important spot. And if only they had people that were smart enough to realize this stuff, they could probably fix the problem, but they're stuck.
The one thing I love about you, Conway, is that you're consistent. 2026, new year, still tearing those referees apart.
They're so bad. They're awful.
It was not their best night. They
don't have good nights.
I don't. I have my fair share of issues with the refereeing as well, and I'd rather just wish for betterness instead of like tearing them apart. But I do think that the refereeing is one of the weak spots in the presentation of the product in AEW, and I'm not sure if it's Bryce or Paul Turner or any of these others. I think Aubrey's fine. I couldn't name a bunch of the others, but there is a sense sometimes that the referees have a little bit of main character syndrome.
Yeah, and well, my thing is, like, if these guys were going to improve, they would have done it in the 5 years or 6 years almost that show's been going on.
And it all comes down to the creative and deciding what they want to do with these guys.
They need to clean house, but nobody there is smart enough to know that you need to clean house.
At any point, they could change the game. You know, other promotions have over the years changed the procedures and the presentation of these referees. It's a weak spot for the promotion, and I think some of the big matches over the years have definitely suffered from it. Yeah. But there's so many things in so many different promotions that it's just like, you know what, that's your pro and that's your con. And, you know, we're not really an AEW podcast. We're just talking about the Okada stuff. But, you know, it's just one of those, it's the season of change. And we're in the season of change in New Japan. We're in the season of change in AEW. You know, it's 2026. And even that Noah show felt like they were starting up new stories and trying to really, you know, break away from whatever that they had 2025 being. You know, like it felt like they were trying to do the Team 2000 and trying to get them all over in Noah slowly and surely, which wasn't something that was really on my radar up to this point. And they had people turning and joining, and they really built it up. And then they made a decision in the main event that said, well, maybe it's not their time just yet. So I'm looking at it. I'm just thinking change is abounding everywhere for all these promotions. And it's also an opportunity to improve upon things quietly if you see the need for it. And 5 years, you know, some of these guys, you know, Jericho, when he joined AEW, he immediately did that match with Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom years ago, and now he's gone. You know, he's not in AEW anymore. He's probably showing up in WWE on Monday, more than likely. So just like all these things change. You know, this is a cyclical business. What happened 1 year, you know, like Tanahashi being the focal point of the entirety of 2025 in New Japan, ain't going to be the focal point in 2026. And we're going to find out whether that was really a smart move with the absence of star power being what it would be.
Yeah, it's curious. By the way, I saw something, and again, this is a New Japan podcast. We're going to talk about New Japan related stuff in a little bit. There's a New Japan related stuff on Noah show, certainly in Dream Queendom as well. We'll talk about all that. Yeah, it's here's the thing that how time has flown. CM Punk has been back in WWE longer than he was in AEW.
Yeah.
How time has flown. That for me, that when I heard that, and I double checked it, and they were right, and I was just thinking, my goodness, is that true? It's absolutely right. He's been back in WWE longer than he was in AEW, and it just speaks to. And like I said, 5 years, 2026. This is going to be the 7th year because that show, the AEW got going in 2019, didn't it? Isn't that about right?
Yeah. So I always look at it like this. And it blows my mind that I think about the show that New Japan and Ring of Honor did at Madison Square Garden was before AEW Double or Nothing, the first one. Yeah. Everything that happened on that show happened before AEW even had their first big thing. And I think about how long ago that was, and I also think it doesn't feel that long at all. Like it feels like a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Plenty of things happen in my life, good things, wrestling has changed, but it's like Cody and Jericho and all of these guys that were there are now no longer there. And that's what it's like about the cyclical business of this whole thing, where you got to be prepared for the next. And that's the part with New Japan that I am so worried about.
Yeah.
I'm so worried about what their plan is going to be on January 5th. They've announced the Mystery Vortex, basically, where they've listed everybody that's going to be there. Takeshita is listed as the Don Callis family's Takeshita, which is concerning to me because it doesn't really, when the American writers of these articles mention stuff like that, it feels like they know a little bit more than they're letting on. So it should have just been Takeshita. And that part worries me for what Monday is going to bring.
All right. Well, let's take a look. I want to mention Dream Queendom real quick there, which took place on the 29th at Ryogoku Kokugikan, the Sumo Hall.
You watched the show, right? I did not.
I did watch this one, absolutely. And I was all in on this one. I was excited about it. There are pros and cons to it as well. Action-wise, it was a fantastic show. The wrestling on it was really, really good. The criticism comes from the fact that there weren't a lot of angles on it, but the wrestling was fantastic. And a lot of it just kind of stayed like there weren't any title changes and there weren't any real turns or switches or really angles to it, but there were some important things. Of course, the main thing is the IWGP Joshi champion, the women's champion, Syuri, her title was not on the line in this show, but Saya Kamitani defended the World of Stardom title, defeating Saori Anou, 22 minutes and 40 seconds of a hell of a good match. But the hate group, that heel group that Kamitani is a part of, kept all the titles. They went into it with all the titles and held on to all of them. Konami, who is a member of Hate, defeated Saya Ida in a great match, 20 minutes, 34 seconds there. That was just about as good as Saya and Saori. Natsuko Tora and Ruaka defeated Sakurara, Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurara, a wonderful newish tag team, younger wrestlers there from the Cosmic Angels. The Cosmic Angels took almost total defeat in this one. Natsupoi lost to Syuri in a great match, but Saori Anou lost, Poi lost, Aya and Sayaka lost. So Cosmic Angels have pretty much hit total rock bottom in that sense. And you know what happens when a faction usually hits rock bottom in the Bushiroad promotions anyways. One of two things. Either they're going to be phased out or they're about to explode and something big is going to happen with them. And we'll see, because Hazuki defeated Fua-chan in her re-debut. Now, this is a tricky situation, Jeremy. I don't know if you have heard about...
I know nothing. Just spell it out for me.
Fua-chan is a social media presence in Japan, an influencer, you could even say, YouTube channel, TikTok, and also trained to be in pro wrestling and did a few matches in Stardom a couple of years ago. She ended up putting her foot in her mouth in a big way online by making a very nasty comment to somebody else online. In a promotion that recently lost Hana Kimura to depression caused by online hate.
Well, that's not good.
It wasn't good, and she disappeared both off of social media. It canceled her basically, and because everyone recognized her for what it was, which is a colossally stupid thing to do in an environment like that. It's not good to do any time at all.
I was gonna say, bullying seems like one of the easiest things to get away with unless somebody actually holds you accountable. Yeah. And when you get caught for bullying, there's no coming back from it. It's just one of those things that the only way people feel like they can really hold somebody accountable is if it's too loud to ignore.
Yeah, and this was a very nasty thing to say to somebody, and I'm not going to dignify it by repeating it here, but suffice to say, it was enough that she went away for a while, Stardom backed away from her for a while. And she has been contrite about it, apologetic, and she wanted to re-debut. This was all presented as a re-debut for her, a rebirth, and she's going to do this and try to be a better person going forward, was the entire point of this all. And I think that's the best result. The best, to me, somebody being canceled is not the best result. To me, the best result is somebody being held accountable, realizing their mistakes, apologizing for that, and then moving forward in a more positive way. To me, that's the best result. that someone learns from it. To me,
I'm 100% with you.
No, I know you are. I didn't think you were arguing with me. I'm just trying to point out that, it was controversial that they were going to bring her back. They said, well, how could they? The way that they did it was that she was saying, I was wrong and I want to go forward and do better. Is she
going to be a babyface? Because you kind of have to be a babyface at that point.
She is, yeah. And she came back and had a heck of a match with Hazuki, who was her trainer. And basically, she looks like she is a potential babyface in the making star for them. She's a hell of an athlete. She's a good worker. She was a good wrestler. She hasn't had very many matches, but this one with Hazuki was kept fairly short. Hazuki won. You don't beat an established star in Japan like that on your first night in or back in after a couple of years, that type of thing. But that is something that having a Dream Queendom will be keeping an eye on Fuwa-chan, because you can't ignore this stuff. We've got an IWGP Joshi champion, so it's worth noting who the stars are for her. And Brad mentions the Fuwa-chan is the best YouTuber turned pro wrestler we've ever seen, and she's not the only one. That sounds almost like a joke, but there have been others that are doing this. This is her third match, and she already looks like a seasoned veteran. Of course, she was in there with Hazuki, one of the very best workers. There's a reason she's on the wall behind me here. She's my favorite Joshi worker, personally. I know there are other people that are better, but I just enjoy Hazuki's matches. I love the way she works matches, and she carried Fuwa-chan through that one. If they can make a star out of Fuwa-chan, they've got something, because she does have a name there. She does have a presence. That was that one. And then Brad mentioned something else. There was an 8-woman tag match with Empress Nexus Venus against Mi Vida Loca. Now these are it was the bruiser match, Jeremy. So on one side you had Hanako, who's one of the tallest in the whole company and has some size to her. Micah, who's a powerhouse. Xena, who's not as tall or as strong or as bulky, but she's strong and she's a good worker. And Megan Bain. And on the other side was Itsuki Aoki, Rina Yamashita, and Suzu Suzuki. So that Japanese trio that'll do hardcore matches and will do some of the. They would not be out of place on a Death Pain Invitational show, teaming with Bozilla. Who's about the only person in the world that can match Megan Bain's size for size, or the only person in Japan who can match Megan Bain's size for size. So what you just had was something you don't get in Joshi wrestling a whole lot, which is a bruiser versus bruiser match. Let's just fight. And this thing was wonderful. And I just want to see Megan Bain versus Bozilla one-on-one, because those two chemistries are terrific. What was that?
When is that happening? When is Megan Bain versus Bozilla?
Oh, I hope it's coming up, because they're running Korakuen Hall a bunch of times in January, right. And then they have a show in Osaka coming up. I hope that's where this thing is going.
But they haven't announced it for the 2 shows that are happening in a couple of days. They did 2 shows for the third here, right? But they only scaled it for 600 tickets for both shows. And when you have 45,000 people, there's a lot of people that want to go to that Stardom show that are not going to that Stardom show.
Yeah. No, yeah. They don't have a very big building for that. It's in Face, isn't it? It's in Juku Face or something like that? Or
yes.
Yeah.
Somebody, that guy Adam that I had mentioned earlier was...
there's no room in there.
Was telling me all this stuff about it. And, there are some pretty smart fans that are out here.
And Brad says, I will never get tired of watching Bozilla and Megan beating the crap out of each other for our entertainment. They have to be heading to a big singles match for Stardom. And Brad tipped me off here. Megan and Bozilla had a match on spring break for GCW. The match was incredible. And they also announced that Stardom will be coming to WrestleMania week in Las Vegas this year. So I might be there for that. I'm leaning heavily toward making a trip out to Vegas for Mania week. I have no interest in going to WrestleMania, but if some of the other companies are coming in and running shows throughout Vegas on Mania week, I will go to those. So if a couple more of those start to pop up, and we'll probably hear about some of that.
There's about a 20% chance that I'll go to Vegas this year.
Might meet in person.
So if that's the case,
oh my God,
ladies and gentlemen, Steven Conway and I might actually meet in person.
We've never met in person.
No, we haven't. My gosh. I got recruited to work for one of the internet companies last year. The reporting company. So I'm not fishing for it, but if it happens, it would have to be a considerably cheap trip, because I'm blowing the paycheck on this one, guys. This is the one-time trip. This is Vegas for WrestleMania before it goes away for a couple of years for blood money is not exactly like, oh God, I got to make sure I get my shit in. You know?
So Jeremy and I have the same, not particularly tinfoil hat theory that this could be one of the last WrestleManias in the United States for quite some time, with Saudi Arabia taking over everything coming up here. So I'm of the same mind you are.
Sport quashing. Woo!
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it's going to be a blood money show for sure. It's not only going to be Crown Jewel. They want Mania, no doubt about it. They opened up an office there. They're probably going to buy the whole damn thing eventually from TKO once they fatten it up enough with cash.
Yeah, all I know is that this is going to be the last Mania in the States at least for a year. That
feels like, yeah. And you know that, and you know it's in Vegas, which there's a lot of stuff to do there. And if the other shows pop up, but Stardom definitely announced that they're going to go to Vegas.
Did I tell you that I knew about the Saudi Mania thing months before anyone else did? Because around SummerSlam, I was watching a show with Dave, and I was helping him out with something, and he just came down with a look at a guy and was like, WrestleMania, there's a WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia this year, or it's going to happen. I'm like, oh, and like, and he's like, I don't know yet. And I'm like, oh. And then he had to work on the story before it ever became public. But he knew really early on, and he told me, and I was like, that's wild. Like, it was just one of those, like, I'm sitting here, and I'm, like, hearing about all this stuff, and those are the kind of things where, Steven, I'm not going to lie to you, I kind of like, is this shit real? Like, is this world that I'm living in real? Like, I'm basically just told, like, random things here and there, and you just kind of have to parse it all through. And then you just sit there and you wait for it to become public, and you're just like, fuck, so that's how this all works.
TKO is just one of the grossest companies when it comes to just money. I mean, just if you can pay them $5 more to do something, they'll break a contract and do it. Some of their behavior in this stuff is just, it gives me the ick. They give
the
me
hashtag
the ick.
tax the rich.
Oh man. Well, you know, again, we're not trying to be a political thing here, but just the Saudi Arabia,
there's so much money, you know.
The Saudi Arabia thing's
more
gross.
Money than anybody needs. It's more money than any business needs.
It's so gross.
Like, what kind of like flex is it to come around and say, yeah, we make billions of dollars here. Good for you. Yeah. Like, and how many tickets are you giving away to the underserved instead of charging more and more? Like, there's a connection to your fandom here that money is actively destroying, and they're not going to realize.
Well, which is why I think they're looking to spin off WWE and sell it off to somebody, because they're just pumping it full of cash, just making the revenue go absolutely through the roof, putting a logo on everything, having commercials going on during introductions and stuff like that, and during entrances even. I just think they're trying to fatten up that pig to sell it off, you know, and they're going to make the revenue look amazing, and then just make a ton of cash on it, and then just have UFC
cash out and do.
I think so, because everything they're doing is generated toward generating cash, which makes sense, except like you said, they're sacrificing families, any young viewers who can't afford all this stuff. Tells me they don't care if those people are there in 5 years, you know, because they're not going to own it. You know, they're just worried about that now. That's my tinfoil hat theory. But I don't think there's that much tinfoil in it.
I don't pay for the ESPN PLEs. I don't pay to watch SmackDown. I have Netflix already because my wife loves Netflix. That's literally the only WWE I watch is getting around to Raw every week. And I didn't even watch Raw this week. I was like, I don't. Like, whatever, man.
Well, point being here, we digressed a lot off that, but it's on our minds. It's in the zeitgeist and things. And it does, all this stuff has domino effects in the wrestling industry anyway. But point being.
And to be fair, there's not a whole lot of New Japan news other than the.
Well, I'm getting to some. So with that, Saya Kamitani, Syuri, title versus title. Sure. No changes. No one took any losses. Shuri's side lost their tag match, but her partner was the one that was pinned in that one, and that was really to get somebody over as a new challenger coming up. So Starlight Kid, by the way, was the winner of that one, and it looks like Starlight's moving up toward a title shot. So Syuri was not beaten there. Syuri, the Joshi champion, versus the both NJPW Strong Women's champion and the World of Stardom champion Saya Kamitani in the Dome as scheduled. No twist to that tale, thankfully. We will indeed get that match. And it should be a terrific one there. So
that might be that match is going to light a fire under the ass of everyone behind after it.
Yeah, I think so too. And I know that people have been trepidatious about how little time Tam Nakano got against Kairi a few years ago. I think that now with Kamitani having such a mainstream media presence over the course of the last year in Japan, that they're not going to cut that off. I don't think they're going to get a half hour, nor should they. I think they're going to get probably 10 or 12 minutes, and it'll probably be some of the best 10 or 12 minutes on that entire show, because they can put something great together in that time. And but I don't think they're going to treat it with disrespect, because I think it is important to Bushiroad to have that mainstream media presence and keep Kamitani strong and featured.
If from entrances to exits they get 20 minutes, I'll be happy.
Yeah, well put. I mean, that would be it, because Kamitani's entrance is also one of the better ones out there. So, okay. I also, by the way, watched All Japan's New Year, and
I heard that main event was fantastic.
Yeah, and by the way, Stardom, 6,500 people in Sumo Hall. What a fantastic one!
Good for them.
It is, and it's sold out. And I think if they had put 4 people in those boxes, because remember how Sumo Hall has the boxes where you sit on the floor, you sit on cushions, and they sold 2 people to a box. I bet they're kicking themselves they didn't sell 4 to a box on this thing, because they might have beaten Yokohama, that incredible show with Nakano and Saya at that drew 7,500. They might have threatened that this year if they sold 4 to a box. So maybe next year they will. But what a great turnout! Another one, All Japan had their New Year's Eve show, which is one of their biggest of the year, at Yoyogi National Gymnasium, and that is also in the Tokyo area. Yoyogi, just a different neighborhood than what we're used to from New Japan, but they drew 2,700 for their show. Last year, 2,500. So the rising tide is lifting a lot of boats here, Jeremy. Now, 200 is not the same increase that Stardom saw, but for a company that's kind of run on a comparative shoestring budget like All Japan is, that's a healthy crowd for them too. So the Japanese wrestling industry is strong.
You want to know something interesting? Is that all around the Tokyo Dome, I've seen more billboards and advertisements for All Japan and Noah than I've seen for New Japan. I've seen a couple in the metro. Like I have a picture of their Tanahashi and Takahashi like hawking goods in the subway, and Tanahashi. There's a little bit of love about some magazines and stuff like that commemorating Pro Wrestling Weekly in Japan. Yeah, you just kind of have to get that kind of stuff. But yeah,
well, very close to that train station, very close to one of the train stations around there. There is, I think, like a 4 or 5 story tall billboard. It's narrow, it's thin.
That's what I'm talking about.
Very tall, yeah. And the top half of it is Noah, and the bottom half of it is All Japan. And it's right over there, looking over at the Starbucks.
But it was all fresh with the lineups of the shows that they had.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So they've redone that. So when I was there last year, those billboards were there. When I was there in May, that's there. So they do keep a presence up in that area. It's very cool.
Yeah, Inamura was there with the smile and the cowboy hat, and the presentation of that guy is wild. Like,
it's interesting, isn't it? He's been Americanized is basically his gimmick. He went to NXT and got Americanized. Brad mentions Taro Okada. That's the man that is in charge of Stardom on the Bushiroad side. Said they are pushing to get 10,000 at an upcoming show. The talk of Stardom working the dome keeps getting closer if they can do that. And I'm not going to put it past them anymore. It's still a couple of years away, I think, but I don't think 10,000 is crazy anymore. It's difficult, but it's really difficult for New Japan right now. But New Japan's got its own challenges. It's about the only company that's down overall. But here we have a sold out dome, and we can start 2026 with huge crowds all around. But I wanted to mention New Japan, or All Japan rather, Zen Nihon instead of Shin Nihon. But the 2 final matches of that show were terrific. The All Asia Tag Team title match, Ishin and Yoshiki Kato defeated Musashi and Seiki Yoshioka, and that was the title change. Those guys are Dragon's Gate guys. They work with Dragon's Gate. All Japan's been working with Dragon's Gate a little bit, and a terrific match for the tag team titles. Jun Saito and Go Shiozaki went like a 15-minute really good match. Go Shiozaki, former Noah star that's gone over to New Japan, or All Japan. I keep saying that. Sorry.
So All Japan. Still go, huh?
Yeah, and he can still go for sure. And Jun Saito, with the right opponent, it can be terrific. And then the Triple Crown title match. This is one thing. I wonder if we're going to look back at this with regret, or maybe they're building to something. But Kento Miyahara, who's one of my favorite workers in wrestling. In fact, I have his scarf here behind me. You can see that I bought his towel or scarf, whatever you want to call it, for when I was there last year. Miyahara is brilliant as a worker, and Yuma Anzai is one of the young talents there. I think he's the one, Jeremy, we've talked about him before, early 20s and just on fire. They went almost a half an hour. Amazing match for the Triple Crown title. Kento did beat him. A lot of people thought that maybe this is Yuma's ascension. Not quite yet, young man, but there is no doubt that man belongs in a main event like that, because that match was wonderful. So I think it might be a thing where they will have him as a major contender in the Champion Carnival this year, and maybe that's when Anzai makes his run back at it. You know what I mean? This might be the last loss you need before you do the final push. Does that make any sense? Okada losing to Tanahashi and crying his way out of the dome before he comes back, wins G1 and beats him. That might be running something similar with Yuma Anzai right here. But again, their attendance was up. So Zen Nihon, a little bit of a boost for them. I was happy. I accidentally wore my All Japan shirt into the Tokan shop last time I was there, and I realized it as I had my jacket over and comically
got poor form,
slammed it shut. No, they were fine. The woman working the counter saw it and laughed. I just did it just to be kind of funny. But and last time I do all this cross stuff because I generally go to Tokan, which is right by Tokyo Dome area, when I'm going to Korakuen Hall. So the last time I had this black bag, thankfully, and I turned it inside out so that the lion mark wouldn't be showing, because I'm going to a Noah show in 2019 with all my New Japan merch.
Sure.
And that is bad form. It is bad form to wear another company's stuff to a show like that. It is a bit bad form. You want to wear that company's gear.
Yeah.
Going to the Tokan shop, it's fine. And like I said, I realized I was wearing my All Japan shirt, and I closed it, and then she just kind of giggled a little bit. But yeah,
you don't wear a Tanahashi shirt to the Noah show. Kind of thing.
No, a little awkward. You could have worn a Naito one though, and we're going to get to that in just a second.
Could have. The only other thing I wanted to add, you mentioned something about the Stardom and the 10,000. Is when I've talked to a couple people here, the general sense was that they thought getting to 10,000 wasn't going to be a problem, but they thought that if things track in the right direction, in 3 years they might be able to get the same amount that New Japan got in the Dome last year, like that 15 to 20,000. And if they keep doing it, they might be able to do a Tokyo Dome show that packs the house. It's not a guaranteed thing at all, but it's also not completely ridiculous anymore.
It's not ridiculous anymore. The key is they're going to have more than Kamitani, and they're going to need a little bit more.
They're going to need American star power, but they're also going to need top stars, like a lot of top stars, and building them. And I think there are definitely a handful of people, especially with, the absence at the top with Nakano and Maya Iwatani and all these other people that are they're gone. They're not in Stardom anymore. And
here's what I'll say to that. In this one thing that 2025, very strong year for Stardom. The one criticism that could end up biting them in the rear end a little bit going forward, they may have just played the hot hand with Kamitani, which worked. No one's denying that it worked, but it only works for so long. And they may have sacrificed almost any other stories on the show to feature Kamitani. Like I've mentioned this with Scott Edwards, and just both on shows and then in private, like, what are the other big storylines in Stardom? And outside of Kamitani, it's not that easy to name them. There are a couple. And Saya Ida entering the main event picture with this incredible match she just had is a good sign. Hanan is coming back, and she's a star. But I think one of the things you're going to need is depth. If you're going to sell that many tickets, the card needs depth. And and that's something that the only complaints I've heard, none about the action. The wrestling was fantastic at Dream Queendom. But again, Hate came in with all the titles. They left with all the titles. Nobody really turned. There wasn't Fua-chan was a big surprise in that she did well. We knew she was coming back. She wasn't a surprise that she was there. And their 15th anniversary is coming up, and they have some veterans coming back and that type of thing. There needs to be more stories underneath, whereas maybe in 2025 they did well playing the hot hand of Saya Kamitani. Just feature her in a series of matches, because they really didn't do much storyline wise with Momo Watanabe, who was in her faction. They had both been in Queen's Quest before. That should have been kind of a deeper story than it was, but they just had her beat Momo after Momo won the 5-star Grand Prix. Just had her beat her. Again, it's working, right? So who's to complain? I'm just saying long term, if you're going to run a dome in 2 years, Kamitani might not be the hot hand anymore. You'll need more than that.
So basically, you're saying there are warning signs that you need to keep heed of to avoid falling into these traps.
Yeah, there's going to have to be more. And Brad hits it on the head. 2024 established hate. 2025 was the rise and takeover of hate. And now 2026 is going to have to be Avengers Assemble and take these people down. And by the way, we were talking about the advertisements near the Tokyo Dome. USVA guy is here. Thank you. I'm glad you're here, Esteban. He says usually New Japan advertisements happen outside the city center. So that's something that
Good morning, Esteban. I'll see you later, apparently.
and that's probably a smart move, too. You want to be around. And, of course, Bushiroad, both Stardom and New Japan, has a tie-in with the JR lines, which is one of the big train lines around. There are two main ones, Tokyo Metro and then JR, that gets people around Tokyo. Stardom and New Japan has had sponsorships with JR. So if you just get on a train, sometimes you see New Japan stars.
That's where I saw the Tanahashi, and I might actually have it here. Hold on, I'll show you what I got.
Yeah, all right. You got a picture of it?
Yeah, somewhere.
Okay. I'll describe it for the people that are on. If you got some photos, go ahead and put them up.
I did. I'm working on it.
All right. And let's see. Emberill88 asks, is Wrestle Kingdom going to be a jumping point for another hot run, or is it simply a memorial show for 2010's high period? I'm going to be as honest as possible here and say that it is a memorial show for the high period. I don't see a whole lot of evidence that we are headed toward a boom period for New Japan unless something drastic changes. I think that this is a nostalgia thing for Tanahashi, and I think there are real challenges ahead for New Japan in drawing crowds, because this past year was among the dirt worst in quite a while. Oh, okay, so you got a good picture of Doc Gallows right there. And there, now I'm going to describe this. This is an advertisement in a train station, and it's Hiromu Takahashi on one side with a bag of golf clubs for the NJPW golf team, and on the left is Hiroshi Tanahashi. So there are
a thank you poster for
Yeah, so those are ads that you see in train stations, and goodness knows most of Tokyo, it seems, rides a train daily. So that's a great way to get the word out.
Yeah, so I got some pictures from the trip. I'll add these right here. Okay. So this is the flight, and then I have a photo of outside my room, which you can see right here has the Ferris wheel and the roller coaster. And right off to the left is the corner of the Tokyo Dome. If you remember when Cody and the Bucks and Hangman Page did that little clip at the end of BTE where they did that, I stood right outside that spot. I know exactly where it was. And I understand now why it was so quiet and empty, because they did it on that New Year's Day where nobody's around. Yeah. Otherwise, this whole thoroughfare is packed with people all the time.
Yeah. Tokyo Dome City is a big attraction for people who even live in Tokyo, not just tourists, although certainly tourists, but people who live in Tokyo go down there because they do have carnival rides. There's a convention center. There are multiple other venues. We always talk about Korakuen and the Dome for obvious reasons, but Tokyo Dome City Hall is a concert venue that's there. There's I mentioned the convention center. There's always something going on at that convention center. There are food trucks, and it's just a little area to gather for a lot of different things. And a lot of people just go over there to ride the rides and have it's a little bit of an amusement park.
There's a TGI Fridays and a Shake Shack in the area. So those are the traditional American fare, but a lot of the stuff is a Japanese bent on like American food, if not their own culture and style. I did some sushi last night. I tried a burger at the food court near the Tokyo Dome. Cheese is weird in Japan. I don't know how to put it other than like cheese is just weird. Like I'm kind
it's
of
not the same.
I don't really want cheese in Japan. Like, they put the cheddar cheese on the burger, but it wasn't quite melted. Like, they waited too long to do it. And I was able to just peel the cheese off of the burger and go for it. And I was just like, I know that that's not the way to do it, but it just tasted better. Also, bacon in Japan, it's always soft. So if you like soft bacon, it's up your alley. But if you don't get bacon in Japan.
Yeah, crispy bacon is not the thing there. And USVA guys with you says cheese is horrible in Japan.
Yeah, it's something, man. Like I am a purveyor of Swiss cheese and Monterey Jack and all this stuff. You ain't getting any of that here. You ain't getting. I'm
an outlier. I'm an outlier because I don't do cheese on everything anyway. Like even in America, I don't. So it didn't bother me in Japan because I don't necessarily. I'm happier with a hamburger than a cheeseburger.
Yes.
Anyway, if it's a good hamburger, but that's just me, and I know that's. But Flaming Sharks, cheese in Japan is a real thing in a bad way. I don't bet there was. So if you're used to the American style of cheese, maybe this isn't the best. Maybe that's not the best cuisine for you. I would say stick with the onigiri and the sushi and the. You don't get a lot of cheese on sushi. You're okay there. You can get yakiniku. Don't have to worry about cheese on yakiniku, and that's some of the best stuff there. So you're in good shape. There's a lot. The soba, no cheese on soba. You're good there.
I will probably be going hot and mean on the Japanese cuisine now, but I haven't done any ramen yet. I did go to a TGI Fridays in Tokyo Dome yesterday for lunch.
Oh, the one in Cork and Hall.
The one in Cork and Hall. And
first floor of Cork and Hall is a TGI Fridays.
It was really good. Like it was actually better than a TGI Fridays in the States. And I don't know why that is, but it's true. Like it was just
Jeremy, you went to Japan, you went to TGI Fridays?
Bro, I'm just trying to make sure that my stomach is is working right through this entire trip because I don't want to be the guy miserable because like something didn't sit right with me. I'm just playing it safe. I am telling
you, just for me, get some onigiri at a convenience store. It's fresh, it's delicious. Please do. It's a rice ball. It's a rice ball. It's a rice ball.
I will get a rice ball. I was just at a 7-Eleven. I was looking at all the
It'll
stuff.
Settle your stomach. It'll settle your stomach.
It's just one of those things that, like, I'm getting there. It's like jumping into a cold pool. You dip your toes first, and then you make sure that, like, you're okay with it, and then you jump in. Like,
Flaming Shark. Jeremy is a proper American tourist. Brad is saying Jeremy is doing the Young Bucks food tour.
You know what? Like, I'm being honest here, guys. Like, there's nothing about this that I'm ashamed of. I don't want to embarrass myself, and I don't want to embarrass anybody else. There are like, it's one of those. If you get this food from a restaurant and then you don't like it, like, I feel like there's a culture thing where that's just improper. You know, like I don't want to go somewhere and not like the food. Like
okay, I see your point. So you don't want to just sit there and leave an almost eaten meal or an almost uneaten meal. Yeah,
there's like a courtesy thing and a respect and manners, like showing up and eating the food and being respectful of the people serving it to you. Like all of these things are on my mind. It's not just like I'm looking for American food because I'm not like comfortable with it. It is more of like I don't want to go in there and eat something and then like halfway through just not like it and then like work through that awkwardness.
All right. I respect that. I respect that approach completely. I'll say this is another reason to get some convenience store food right there. Yeah. One, it's very good. And you can take it back to your room. If you don't like it, you can just chuck it.
I have done a bunch of that already. Like I'm buying bottles of water and what I was literally at a 7-Eleven next to the Starbucks this morning for about 15 minutes, just looking at all the food and just trying to see like, hey, I wonder if they have any like eel. Because I really like
they do somewhere in there.
Broiled eel. So I was just kind of like browsing for all this stuff to see if they had it like prepackaged because I thought it was possible that they did. I didn't find any. I saw some mackerel, I saw some salmon, that kind of thing, but I'm just getting used to it.
I'll just mention this real quick. We will get back to the show, but where you are, you know that big billboard we've been talking about, Noah and All Japan right there. Underneath that bridge that is next to it, that leads to the train station. Under that bridge is a sukiya. That's a restaurant. It's 24 hours a day. It's one of the gyudon places. So it's a place you can get the shredded beef and gravy over rice. They also have boxes of really good eel, unagi, that is on a bed of rice. and that is on. And they have when you sit down at the seat, you get a little tablet at your station. Press the button for English. Everything is clear as can be, and they take your Suica card.
I
And
mean, 24 hours a day is right up my alley because there was
you're
a
up all
point
night
this morning
anyway.
at like 4 a.m. Like, man, I'm a little hungry, and there's
Yeah,
there's not a
yeah,
lot
you
of
can go
options.
there. No, and that'll. I think that will scratch a couple of those itches that you have
Perfect.
culinarily right there. And so, and it's one of those little places where you can just be in your own zone, and you're just sitting at a counter.
There's
and,
a lot
it's
like
really good.
that here, where it's just like your ability to just eat your meal privately among other people is so prevalent here.
Yeah.
I very much like the vibe of how it is to go and sit down and eat. Like you go, you pay for your food, you wait for your food, you eat your food, and then you're out of it. Like,
yeah,
there's not that sense of like performance with restaurants and the States where it's like you got to tip, you gotta like it's just like, here's your food, arigato, thank you, bow your head. Yeah,
USVA guy says food in general is better in Japan. I believe that fully too. I agree with you, Esteban. I think the food is incredible. They prepare food properly. Yeah, there is a beauty in Japan in a lot of different things, in not only food, but it really shows up in food, where take something simple and do it perfectly. And that is kind of the ethos there. It's like, take something simple and do it exactly correctly every time. And it's something very satisfying to me about that. And it's not only in food, it's in architecture. It's in the way they package up your to-go stuff, the way they wrap your presents, the way they pack. There is that precision. We're going to do it correct every single time. It's
I do want to try a pizza with an egg on it.
Yeah, there's that.
The Florentine pizzas that they have here. I've been eyeballing them, and I'm just trying to. I saw the pepper lunch place the other day. I think we do have to try that.
The Wrestler famous pepper lunch. Yeah, that's a good spot. And of course, if you do have time to get to Ribera Steakhouse, that's a train trip. That's not in the neighborhood, but that's a place where every wrestler you have ever heard of has been to get steak from Ribera.
I'm hoping I make it. I'm not sure I will.
And anyway, Flaming Shark says, I'm a big Japanese food person in general. Regardless, Jeremy over here approaching everything with that Japanese respectfulness.
That's exactly it, man. There's a double-edged sword where it's almost a main character syndrome, because I have a podcast and I'm talking about it. But if I didn't have the podcast, this wouldn't be an issue. It was just one of those, like, I'm just going. I'm trying to, like, be careful and not, because there's just an unfamiliarity with things.
Yeah.
Like once I do that first meal and I understand, or I have that like comfort, but it's just that breaking the wall through and finding exactly what it is. Because my wife really wanted me to learn Japanese a bit before I came here, and it didn't quite happen. And now I'm kind of like, you got at a point.
As someone who is learning Japanese, it's a hard process. It is a totally different language. I found Spanish much easier, in just because the sentence structure is similar, not exactly the same, but similar. In Japan, it's completely different, and it's a challenging language to learn for especially somebody who's older. I'd imagine if you're a kid, that's the time to learn a foreign language, is when you're a little kid, because you're just open to it and things. But as somebody in their 40s trying to learn Japanese, it's been a slow process. I'm getting better, and I did fairly well last time I was there. I think I had some very careful conversations, I would say, but it's not something you're going to do in a couple of months. And you can get yourself in trouble too, because you'll say something right in Japanese and then their faces light up like, oh, he speaks Japanese. And then they peel off a paragraph and you're like, I got 2 words of that. That was it. I didn't get all of it.
A huge tiny mistake.
and Brad mentions, my dream is to come into a lot of money and tour Japan, watch tons of wrestling, and eat tons of Japanese food.
There's so many places to get, like, it's almost overwhelming the amount of just restaurants that you can trip and fall into. Yes. And they're all so small, like they only serve like 20 people at a time, or like these restaurants are not prevalent in terms of the seating, but they're prevalent in terms of making sure that the service and experience, that they can manage it. They can manage an authentic experience for the people that are there at a time. I saw when I was in Akihabara, there was something kind of like a ninja cafe, and there was already a line of people for the 10 seats that were in there, with like 30 people outside the door before 11 a.m. And I'm just like, well, that's apparently a place that I should try out if I get a chance.
Yeah. There's a ramen place that's down the road from the Tokyo Dome that is really great. And it's lobster ramen. So it's a lobster broth. It's extraordinary. It's delicious, but you're waiting in line for an hour and a half for it because they're like 8
or
to 10
even longer for this week because of the amount of people.
Yeah, 8 to 10 seats in there. It's just now. And and here's one from Amberil 88. He said, I looked at learning Japanese, decided it wasn't worth the time. Totally alien to European languages. Yeah, that's a big problem. Made me really respect Japanese people who can speak even broken English. Yeah. The one thing is, like, a lot of people in Japan get excited to try their English because they all learn a little bit of it in school. And the braver ones are just like, they see an American sitting there like sipping a beer or something like that, and you can almost see them screwing up the courage and then just kind of cracking their knuckles going, I'm going in. And they're going to start talking to you in English. And as long as you go slowly, I think speak slowly so they can translate it in their head. They do better with English than we do with Japanese. So I'll give them that credit. So, all right.
Yeah, they're definitely. So I work retail in the States, and I have come across Japanese, Chinese, Taiwanese, Asian shoppers who don't speak English. And so now it's kind of like, oh, so that's what that feels like.
Yeah. It's awkward, isn't it? It's challenging.
No, everyone is intent on being able to properly communicate with each other. And if there is an honest integrity in doing that, you can make the connection in communicating, but understanding a few words here or there, like excuse me or thank you, they go a long way.
Okay. We're an hour and 10 into this, and I just want to mention, I'm having a blast talking about this. I hope you are too. I'm enjoying this conversation because Japan's just such a fascinating place.
I can't believe we've been talking for an hour and 10 minutes. Like, I looked at him like, we were at 8 minutes. Like, I wonder how we're going to get through 90 minutes here. I'm like, oh, okay.
I could talk about Japan. It feels like 10. We've been talking for 10 minutes, but it's been a lot longer than that. We need to get back to the topic, but thank you for sharing all this with us, Jeremy. It's so much fun. I can't wait to go back. And I want this show to be about more than only the wrestling. I want this to be about the history, the culture, and things, and how it weaves through all that stuff. So this stuff all helps.
Well, you want me to run down what I thought about the Noah show real quick before we do our preview?
Well, no, I want to get to the Noah show because I think there are some real interesting things to talk about. So let's take a look at that show that you went to. And the first thing I got to ask is my wrestling venue nerddom. Okay. Can you just indulge me here briefly, Jeremy? This was at Budokan Hall. This is on my bucket list, and I have never been to Japan at the same time there was a major show at Budokan Hall. This is on the grounds of the Imperial Palace, a beautiful part of Tokyo. You're right in the middle of the city, but it's just these gorgeous gardens are around. Budokan Hall, the Beatles played Budokan Hall. If you've ever heard the Cheap Trick live album, I Want You to Want Me with the girls screaming in the background, those the Japanese girls at Budokan Hall. It is the site.
Here's a picture of it on the screen right now.
We're looking at it here on YouTube. It is the venue where All Japan Pro Wrestling had some of the greatest main events that have ever been in a ring, with the Four Pillars, Stan Hansen, Steve Williams, Terry Gordy, all those guys, right? This is a historic building that I've never been able to enter. I've never been able to walk through the doors. Jeremy, what was it like being in Budokan Hall?
It was in your face because you take the train like 2 stops from the Tokyo Dome to this other area of Japan, and it's in the civil district, the government offices, tons of schools. There's no shopping. There's no anything like that. It is all business kind of area. Completely different to Akihabara, which was all shopping all the time. Completely different vibe. So you get off on the train and you climb up the stairs, and you're just in this beautiful garden area. And the area is so big that in the national emergency, it's a staging area for a lot of stuff because the property is so big.
Yeah.
So you walk up the hill, a very light hill, and then you kind of take a left and you just walk into this courtyard area with a giant stone gate. And the gate was wide open, and so everyone's just kind of filling through. You could probably get 200 people through at the same time.
Mhm.
And then you're just kind of walking around this building and you're kind of looking at it and you're just kind of like, wow, yeah, that feels like authentic, like Japanese architecture. And they make you walk around the entire side of the building to get to the other side in order to do the entrance. Because you have one entrance, but once you get there, you go down the stairs to the floor, or you stay on the second level, which is most of the first level off the ground where the seating, and then there's one more area of seats above. So
they're essentially watching on TV. You have the floor seats, that's below ground.
Yeah.
You kind of come in at balcony level, and then there's a second balcony that's up a set of stairs.
The ground floor outside is the balcony level.
Yeah.
So it's like it's dug into the ground kind of thing, the way that the building looks. It felt special. You know what I mean? Like you're in there and there's nothing totally remarkable once you're inside the building. You know, it's just a building where you hold shows. But when you're outside, it just feels like the idea that you're in Japan is so incredibly prevalent when you're looking at this building. Like, yeah, no, I'm at a big show in Japan, and this is really driving the point home.
Cool.
Beautiful, beautiful on the outside, completely unremarkable on the inside.
I mean, you know, it's a big venue, right? So it's just a lot of space, but yeah, it's more the history of the building, what's been in there before in the past.
Good brothers were signing outside. They had a lot of merch out there.
Yeah, cool.
You know, not any merch on the inside. Once you're on the inside, it's kind of like, you know, you go find your seat. There's not a whole lot of dilly-dallying other than buy your refreshments. And then you hold on to your refreshments, and then you make sure you throw away your refreshments when you are done, because no one's leaving their trash by their chair.
Do not do that. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. All right. So then once the show actually started, this was an interesting. I watched most of this before we did the show today. There were a couple I had to skip. Sorry, Saxon Huxley and Will Cruz. I will get to your match later. A couple of those, but there was. I want to stick with the New Japan influence stuff here, and of course, the biggest one, I guess, is that X was indeed the tag team partner of Bushi, Tetsuya Naito. And that was the first Naito match back in Japan since he left New Japan, probably due to a non-compete clause, as we're speculating, that went through the end of the year. Okay. So Naito came back. He came back with Bushi in a tag team against Keno. Okay. All right. Keno's pretty good. And Naomichi Marufuji. Oh boy. Jeremy, tell us about this match.
Well, they did something really interesting. If they brought out Bushi first, and then they did the Keno and Marufuji entrance, and then they had another guy come out that you thought was Naito, but it ended up being Ryusei, which is Matsumoto's twin brother.
Not Matsumoto, Yasuda's.
Yasuda, sorry.
Masatori Yasuda's twin brother, yeah.
Yes, thank you. And the son of, I think, Zumbino is a luchador, because
exactly.
They're half Japanese, half Mexican, like half Hispanic. And so he came out, and everyone was like, "Oh, what's going on?" Because he was wearing a mask. And then Naito did his entrance, and he came out. And honestly, this was the best part of the match. And I kind of awful to say it like that, but when Naito came out, this dude was a star. Mm-hmm. Like the hum in the crowd and him, and you didn't even need the Stardust music or anything like that. It was just he just came out. He did the smile. I had video. I was just off the ramp, so I could see him coming around the corner and then walking down the stage. So while you guys all saw that camera kind of like the HD right on front, I was watching him from the side view, and I kind of knew that it was all vibes, because the show kind of felt, frankly, like work rate wasn't the priority. It was vibes and setting up stuff and just getting reactions from people. A lot of it was the show. And Naito was not great in this match. He wasn't even involved in the finish. It was actually Bushi and Marufuji that ended up being a part of the finish. And so There's a part of me that thinks that Naito's probably going to be challenging for the GHC title, and I was thinking it would have been Naito versus Ogawa at some point this year, and it may still be, but it's not going to be anytime soon because Ogawa didn't win in the main event. But it was just one of those. Naito can be there to put some of these younger guys over in a way that Kenta and Suzuki, and they're all in Noah right now. They don't quite have that cachet. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with them. Naito is exactly what you would expect him to be after 6 months off. And, he's not what he was. And if he had been the guy to retire Tanahashi, I'm not sure that match would have been any good. But I am glad that he is finding work. I am glad that Noah seems to be a good fit for him. And I hope that they have a good plan that highlights his strengths and hides his weaknesses going forward.
And Flaming Shark mentioned that Noah booked this for Naito's entrance. And that was what it really was about at the end of the day. And you're right. That was an entrance match because if you think Tanahashi's knees are shot, you haven't seen Naomichi Marufuji, who used to be an outstanding worker and just can't do much anymore. And so the parts where Marufuji and Naito were in together were painful to watch because they're both very unsteady on their knees. They can't really properly base off of one another. They can't really run. And there were some awkward moments. Now, Bushi can still work. And Keno still works, even though Keno's about the same age as everybody else. I mean, everybody in this match is about 40-some years old. But Naito and Marufuji have a lot more miles in their body than the other two. And Keno and Bushi made it what they could make it. And in the end, Bushi misted Marufuji during a roll-up so that Marufuji was disoriented from the mists, and that's how he got pinned. So now Bushi and Naito are the GHC Tag Team Champions. So they're coming back. This isn't a one-off. Naito and Bushi are going to be on Noah shows going forward as the Tag Team Champions. And interesting to note, Jeremy, like you said, he got Naito chance. He was a star. He did not come out to the Stardust music. That said a lot to me about this because the next match was Hiromu Takahashi defending the GHC Junior Heavyweight title against Amakusa.
With his New Japan music.
With his New Japan music, which means, of course, the obvious thing is that there's no long-term conspiracy going on here, is that Hiromu is there with the cooperation of New Japan and Naito ain't, because he's not allowed to use Stardust, because he would have if he could have. And Hiromu is using his New Japan music. 100%.
Not quite as amicable.
Not as amicable. Well, there's no departure for Hiromu. I mean, this is looking like it's a full departure for Naito.
I wondered if they were going to do something like between the entrances, because they really butted up against each other on the show.
They sure did. And
they even did, the the LIJ fist bump, and I'm like, it would be really cool if Hiromu came out and did it with them before he went to the ring. And I was kind of hoping that they did, but instead they just settled for a picture backstage where they were all together.
I was just about to say there was a picture that Hiromu put up on his social media of the three of them backstage getting ready, and but again, that was we'll see if any of that comes into play. Now, let's see. Oh, Shark just mentioned that Naito is such a big star that people will always be willing to bring him in. He's still probably the biggest star in Japan at this point, especially with Tanahashi out of the equation. Yeah, you're right. I mean, people will bring him in. Not everybody has the money to, so, but Noah probably does. And again, people forget, I forget sometimes, that the corporation behind Pro Wrestling Noah, the parent company, and all that, bigger than Bushiroad. They have more money than Bushiroad does. It's just a question of how much money they want to put into Noah. But they have the money to do whatever they want as far as bringing stars in if they go to the corporate partners there. Anyway, yeah, Hiromu lost the GHC Junior title to Amakusa. Some of his actions, though, and that social media posts afterwards indicate that he might not be done with Noah. That might not have been the end of his run. Just, well, I put it over. I lost the title. Now I'm going to go back to New Japan and not. There's hints that he might still be around Noah a little bit. I think it's invigorated him. He seems to be enjoying his run in Noah, Jeremy, more than the stuff that he's doing in New Japan, which is not a whole lot. They haven't had a whole lot for him this year in New Japan. But Noah has been kind of focusing on him. He won their junior heavyweight tournament. He won their title. and he gave it back to Amakusa in a terrific match. And those two have history going way back and things. So it was the best match on the show, wasn't it? Though, like motivated Hiromu can still work.
Hiromu, this was the best. This might have been the best Hiromu match in the last year for him, because he was doing tag matches and he wasn't really the focus of the best of the Super Juniors and all that. This felt like Hiromu the Star putting somebody over and making that guy work for it. Amakusa, I've seen him for years. I think he's already one of the best juniors in Japan. This was a fantastic match, far and away the best match on the card, and convinced me that it was worth my time to go to the show.
Yeah, and the main event was the heavyweight title. There's a couple more things to mention. The heavyweight title match, Yoshiki Inamura, who's recently back from a run in NXT and WWE, and his whole gimmick is that he's been Americanized. He wears a cowboy hat. He speaks a little English during his interviews, but he's a babyface. He defeated Ozawa, who was the top star of one of the big heel faction, the Team 2000X. And he beat Ozawa, a good match, 21 minutes and 18 seconds. Ozawa was hurt for part of the year. Alpha Wolf and Dragonbane had a match for the national title. They've been a tag team for a long time and have been an excellent team, but they've split up. And then also worth mentioning, earlier on the show, we had Minoru Suzuki. He was in there. Mm-hmm. Most of his thing was arguing with one of his teammates, Kazuyuki Fujita. And we also had Kenta was on an early 8-man tag on the show as well.
So there's all the Kenta and the Suzuki, they were all on teams that I feel like did a lot to put over their opponents. I don't remember who won the Suzuki match. I kind of think they did.
That was the one where Suzuki was on the losing side. That was the one where they really put over Kitamiya, who ended up becoming a challenger for the title at the end. So he looked like a monster in that match, then came back later and challenged the champion.
That's the new top stable, apparently, because the Team 2000X, and in that Alpha Wolf Dragonbane, where they're brothers and wrestling with each other, Alpha Wolf actually crotched Dragonbane and joined that team and removed his old mask, put on a new mask, and let's see, I think I have it here somewhere.
So he turned heel basically on his brother, and that was one of the better tag teams in Japan, by the way. That team, Alpha Wolf and Dragonbane, they're an excellent brother tag team from Mexico. And as you can see here, there's the one. He's got a new black and white mask with the teeth drawn onto it, and it's supposed to look like a big monster. And he's now a heel there. So that team right there, that faction, that Team 2000X, will still be in the main event picture because Kitamiya has turned heel and joined it. He's the next guy up for Inamura, apparently, as they go to look to rebuild Ozawa in some way.
There's some dude that on Reddit that has been advocating for Lord Yoshitaku to be a top guy in Japan for a while, and I felt like this moment was for him. Yoshitaku was all over this show.
Yeah, the former guy for New Japan got his neck broken he took the Styles Clash wrong, tucked his head the wrong way, so to speak, and it broke his neck a little bit. Not a little bit, but he was hurt badly by that.
Just a minor, just minor.
Again, not AJ's thing. I'm not trying to cast aspersions. It just kind of went wrong. It just kind of went wrong. An accident in the ring, and got hurt. Now he's a heel manager and seems to be a pretty decent one. Jordan from Canada, by the way, I wanted to mention you. He said, "Bless you guys for your content. Thank you. Excellent interview with Dave Meltzer. Really appreciate it. That was a fun show." And the stat that Tanahashi went to the same prestigious school as the inventor of Cup Noodle was amazing, Stephen. Thank you. I was proud of that one too.
Jordan, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate that. We really appreciate all the feedback we've gotten off of that, and that you guys have supported it so much, because we had a blast doing that one. Anyway,
Dave said he had a blast. He told me after the fact that he really enjoyed the show, and I didn't get a chance to tell you that, but
cool.
When we watched the AEW paper, he mentioned it a number of times that he was very, very much had a good time with us.
Oh, I'm glad. That really makes me happy too. So, so that was the Noah show. And like I said, a lot of New Japan, former New Japan guys like Kenta, Minoru Suzuki, the Good Brothers on the show. We saw Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, of course, a team that has held titles in New Japan before as well. What was their match like, Jeremy?
Which match?
The Good Brothers.
It was probably the third best match on the show. They were there with their working boots on. if somebody were, I mean, in my mind, I predicted, Magic Killer on Jack Morris seems like the play here, and that was exactly what it was Magic Killer on Jack Morris. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Naito and Bushi lost the titles to those guys at some point, so that they don't have to put over any of the younger talent that they don't want to, and they still get the pop for winning the titles. A Magic Killer on Bushi would not shock me for a title change down the line. I don't particularly care for the Good Brothers. I was having some fun on social media with Mike Gilbert about the fact that I came to Japan to see the Good Brothers. With that said, I think them being here is the right play. I think they're just big enough stars that they add to the product without a revolt from, I don't know, New Japan fans who don't want to see them, and, AEW, whose bridge they burned, and all that stuff. Noah seems like the right play.
So here's what's coming up, and the reason that Noah is a company where almost no one is in their prime. It's the biggest issue with Noah. Now, they drew a good house today. And I hope they're able to do things going forward. Dragon Bane, Alpha Wolf, Ozawa, even Inamura, although Inamura's in his 30s, the company needs a breath of fresh air. And the issue with Noah has been that you either start there or your career is winding down there, but you're not that many people are there in their prime as it stands right now over the last couple of years, because a lot of their stars have aged through, quite frankly. Marufuji used to be great. Now he really can't move that well anymore. And a lot of these guys are in their 40s. They put their ages up on which I don't know if I'd do anymore if I were them. But it's a little nerve-wracking but that same thing's true with New Japan sometimes, right? A lot of guys that are too old to
did you
not a lot of young talent.
But the end of the show with the Kitamiya stuff and Inamura. So the one thing that I thought was baffling through this entire show is that I knew Keno was one of their big stars. But if you watch a show and you've never known New Japan, you would not think Keno was one of their biggest stars with the way he was presented on the show. And I thought that was one of the biggest misses. And I was partly wondering if Keno on his way out. You know what I mean?
He lost the tag. Here's what happened. He lost the tag team titles to Bushi and Naito. Okay, you want to do something with Naito while you got him, right?
That's fine.
Exactly. Then he comes out. He's called out by Inamura. So Inamura beats Ozawa. And then he says, I'm going to name my next challenger. And I name Keno. And Keno comes out. And he's just
a little what? Okay, sure.
Really? Yeah. That whole thing. And even the English language now, Stu Fulton was on the call, which is great. He's the best English language announcer in Japan. And he came out there and he was talking about how, one door closes, another one opens for Keno. And here it is. Well, just as he starts getting in the ring to accept this challenge from Inamura, he's attacked by Kitamiya, who won the match earlier in the night,
right,
and gets beaten, just knocked down, dragged out, beat up, and he's dismissed. And you're just like, God, the guy lost the match earlier. Then he comes out and gets punked again
while the promo is happening. I'm like, he's not even involved in this. Why did you bring him out?
It's weird.
Just to get Kitamiya over by destroying Keno?
Guess.
Are we getting
the only thing I can think of?
Match?
Maybe there's going to be a thing where Keno and Kitamiya meet to get to Inamura. I don't know, but that was so
weird though, because I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And I'm just watching it but they're really behind Inamura, and they're not there on Ozawa yet, but it's clear they're going there. Ozawa was a very charismatic individual, but I thought it was kind of a choice to spend the first 15 minutes with, running around the ring and doing killing time instead of actually having a match.
Yeah. And the other and that's part of his persona, is that just kind of snot-nosed, almost Ingobernable inspired type of nonchalance and things. So it's that's kind of his character in that. He's a heel. So it's strange that I'll say this though. The All Japan New Year's Eve show, Dream Queendom, certainly. Noah wrestling wise doesn't match up with those. Those are other shows to see. Luckily, Noah was included in your Wrestle Universe package. Go ahead and watch it. I'm not telling you not to watch it. Dream Queendom was
temper your expectations.
Much better wrestling. And I think that the New Year's Eve show from All Japan was much better wrestling. Flaming Shark kind of has it nailed. He said Noah has their guys, and the old guys they bring in that New Japan isn't interested in anymore. Yeah. That's a lot of it. They do have a guy.
That was the show that I saw.
Odashima is a young guy early on the card for Noah that's got a lot of potential. So look for him to join somebody else soon. And then Jordan from Canada mentions, I like Noah's presentation. The white and green look really clean. Yeah, and so Marigold has a big show on the 3rd. TJPW is on the 4th at Korakuen Hall just before Wrestle Kingdom, and then Wrestle Kingdom itself. So a lot of really exciting, good wrestling to come.
And I'm going to DDT at Korakuen on the 3rd.
DDT has a big one. So everybody's in town. Everybody's doing their big shows. And yeah, I mean, that's what's coming up this week. So we're going to talk about a lot of that. We'll probably talk about those other shows a little bit more next Thursday. Whereas Sunday, I think we're going to focus. Well, not I think we are going to focus on Wrestle Kingdom on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll chat about Dash next Thursday and the rest of the fallout from it. But we're going to do our show right after Wrestle Kingdom, and it's just going to be Wrestle Kingdom, and we'll be done when we're done. It might just be a 45-minute show. We might talk an hour and a half. Who knows? But
knowing us, it'll be a little longer than that. And Brad mentioned Stardom has 2 shows on the 3rd, an afternoon and an evening show that apparently no one can get into because it is in Shinjuku Face.
Both of them, Brad, sold out. There's 45,000 people here, and they scaled 2 Stardom shows for 1,200 people total.
Well, I mean, the buildings are all packed. You can't get into Korakuen this week. There's 2 shows a day in Korakuen Hall right now.
I went ahead of time and I bought all these tickets, and I was like, there's gonna be so many people here that the chances of me being able to get the ticket will come there. And so I bought my 3 tickets. Budokan, Korakuen, and the Tokyo Dome. Like it wasn't about the promotion. It was about the opportunity to be in these buildings.
Yeah. Well put. So you've been to Budokan. You're going to go to Korakuen. You're going to go there. It really only Sumo Hall's left for you, buddy. And just like Budokan's the only one left for me. And yeah, Alex Windsor, Ms. Ospreay is making her shows, making her debut on those shows as well for Stardom. That's pretty cool. I like Alex Windsor. So
all right, you want to do our lightning round, last minute talk about each of these matches for Wrestle Kingdom?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could. I feel like we've talked about the show to death coming into it, but let's take a look. And we've got, of course, the kickoff match is listed right now as El Phantasmo versus Chris Brooks for the TV title. I think that could be a change if Chris Brooks is sticking around. And then we have the never open weight 6-man tag team championship, Tornado Rambo. This is Takeshi Takeshi Kaisai is going to be there. He's a DDT, not a DDT guy. Is he DDT? Yeah, DDT pop star too. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the tag champs are Wato, Yo, and Yano. So Kaisai is there for a little bit of attention from mainstream media. And then, what can you say? We've got, I think the teams that make the most sense to me, Oleg, Yoshihashi, and Goto are real strong contenders to win this thing. And I'm trying to take a look at who else looks like they could possibly be it.
Any one of these teams could potentially win, minus Ice, Oscar, and Clark Connors.
Yeah, because they seem to have other things to do.
They all have, an argument, Tiger Mask maybe having one more run with a belt just for a short period of time. I don't expect it, but I don't rule it out. Anyone on the top row of this image with Yano, Yo, and Wado, or Umino and Uemura and Takechi, or Goto, Yoshihashi, and Bolton, or Zach and Oiwa and Jackson, any one of those teams could win. This is the penultimate. Let's get as many guys on the card that matters. And
yeah,
I don't really necessarily think that it matters who wins this match.
Okay. Well, again, I think we're going to see that Kaisai really be featured right there, and he's somebody that they're excited about having on the show, and featuring again on national television for the first time in the Wrestle Kingdom era. So that's going to matter to him. Second match of the main show is going to be the first of 2 title versus title matches, IWGP Women and Strong Women's Double Championship match. So again, World of Stardom title not on the line. It's the Strong title versus the IWGP title. My guess is that these are going to be merged into one afterwards, and we're not going to bother with 2 anymore. But Syuri versus Saya Kamitani. Again, if it's given time, we think they will, because they like to feature Kamitani, that this will be, I think Kamitani's going to win, and I think they're going to get a decent amount of time, and could end up being one of the best things we see all night.
I agree with you. I mean, she won the Tokyo Sports MVP, Kaya Kamitani.
Yes, she
Like
did.
this is the definition of a spotlight match. You know, like let's make sure that these two get as much time as they need, and let's blow the crowd away. Works for me, man. I'm here for it.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of headlocks earlier in this one. I think they're going to hit the ground running in that match. It's going to be a sprint match, however long it goes, because they're going to want to get everything in. Third match is a 10-man tag. This is the unaffiliated War Dogs thing. We've been hearing all the rumors about some War Dogs might be out the door, some might not. They don't know yet, which is why I think, again, they've been in this holding pattern for most of the year. Hiromu Takahashi, Drilla Maloney, Gabe Kidd, David Finlay, Shingo Takagi on one side against the United Empire team of Hanare, returning after a long absence after that injury.
Yay.
Callum Newman. Yeah, absolutely. So happy to have him back. And Great Khan. We also know that Andrade El Idolo is on the United Empire side and X. Jeremy, I loved your theory that you have that Andrade El Idolo is there to hurt the unaffiliated team because he is one of the original Ingobernables before even Naito, right? I mean, the Ingobernables were a CMLL faction before they were De Japón. That branch of it even opened up, and he was one of the originals with Roosh and such. That he's there to hurt that side of it, and you feel like this could very well be Jake Lee or somebody like that to hurt the War Dog side.
I have a second name for that. If it's not Jake Lee,
who?
What do you think about Carl Fredericks?
Carl Fredericks, interesting. Okay, that could be interesting.
He was never a part of Bullet Club. He left before they did the War Dog thing, but it does make a little bit of sense, and you can't rule it out.
Yeah, no, it does, and that to me, I feel like that's a bit of a letdown as an X again. But I was not on the Carl Fredericks bus, and when I saw when he was Eddie Thorpe, I just don't see it at a high level for him.
I think Jake Lee might be if you follow everyone and their mother is leaving New Japan. Yeah, it's like Sean Ross Sapp has two avenues in New Japan, it feels like. He's got Rocky and he's got the LA Dojo guys. And all those LA Dojo guys have his email, and it's evergreen. December, January, all the gaijins that want it out there.
He said their contracts are up and they're looking at options. That happens literally every year.
Hey, my contract might be up here with Speaking Strong. I'll look at my options.
Mine too.
Doesn't mean I'm going anywhere.
Mine too. Yeah, and I feel like Flaming Shark says, I feel like after Andrade, it's going to be bigger than Fredericks, which is regardless of what you think of him. Jake Lee is a bigger reveal than Carl Fredericks. Yeah, but it all depends on if Jake's ready to come back or wants to come back and all that stuff, of course. But
I definitely don't think it's like AJ Styles or Jay White or anything like that.
I feel like Carl Fredericks would be a bit of a thud. It would almost feel like a debut because he never really came back from excursion in a meaningful way to New Japan. Right. It would almost feel like this guy's back and like the whole Eddie Thorpe thing.
I think that they would like to lean into the meta if they were to do it, where it's like, oh yeah, this guy left before he got a chance, and now he's angry at all the people who held him back, kind of thing. And United Empire is I don't know, like you can make it work. I agree with you that it is not as dynamic or exciting as some of the other options. But I'm not here to predict exactly who it is. I'm here to just raise the possibility of who it could be so that other people can decide who they think it might be.
After that, we have the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship #1 contenders 4-way match. This is a very strange match to have on this show, although the action will be fantastic. Desperado, Fujita, Ishimori, and Sho. Athletically, you can't ask for 4 better guys in one match against each other, and they're going to want to show up. So this will be fun to watch while it happens. Again, my prediction is that our junior heavyweight champion, Doki, will have something to do with it, whether he's either helps Sho to win or tries to help Sho win, or he's involved somewhere. I just don't see them having the show without him. Maybe even an impromptu junior heavyweight match right after it. But I do think we're going to see I think we're going to see the champion in the Dome on Sunday.
If we had not seen Doki at all in the run-up to the Wrestle Kingdom at the Road to Tokyo Dome shows, I would have felt like he wasn't going to be there. But he did show up for those last 3 shows that happened at Korakuen, including that Christmas show. And so, in my mind, I could see a scenario where one of these guys win, either Fujita or Desperado, and Doki with his "I'm still the best in the world," and he tries to like take advantage of the tired wrestler, and they get a flash pin on him.
There you go. By the way, Crash TV 83 is with us. Hey, Crash. He says, X Will Ospreay returns sporting a reinforced neck brace. I'm gonna feel very confident that's not the case. He
will be there, but he will not be there for that.
No, not for that. And Brad mentions it's too bad Rush is injured, because him teaming with Andrade in UE, the former Ingobernables, that would have been big. That would have been pretty cool. I agree with you there, but again, like Ospreay, Rush ain't going to be wrestling. And Shark says Carl Fredericks in the match would have been cool, but he would have been cool to reveal earlier. I also agree there. But here we go. Aaron Wolf against Evil for the never open weight title. This one we've analyzed a ton of.
Short and rehearsed.
Short and rehearsed is the way to go with this one, because Wolf seems a little bit out of his depth so far. Hopefully, for New Japan's sake, he will shock all of us on Sunday.
I desperately hope this dude is a ringer, and we've been just led to believe that he didn't know the actual hole in the ground, and he comes in there and he's like, "Oh shit, this guy is so good."
Let's hope. But
that's my dream.
Yeah,
but it may just be a dream.
Yeah, this one's a little spooky. Evil's got his work cut out.
A little bit.
Title versus title. IWGP World Heavyweight title versus IWGP Global Heavyweight title. Winner comes out with both titles. Konosuke Takeshita against Yota Tsuji. We've talked about it before. Unless Takeshita is coming in full time, there is no excuse for doing anything except crowning Yota Tsuji at this event. This is where it has to happen. The only thing I'll take is if Takeshita is leaving AEW and coming over here full time. They need the champion in Japan representing this company full time. It is malpractice if they continue with a part-time world champion in Takeshita. I hope Takeshita comes over and becomes a full-time New Japan guy. I think he's the guy, but not until he's full-time. Without that on the table, this needs to be Yota Tsuji being crowned the man here on national television in Tokyo.
I got to be honest with you, Steven. Everything in my bones is telling me Takeshita's winning this match.
It makes me so nervous. And it'd be such a bad decision.
Takeshita, as the IWGP champion, losing to Okada in AEW the week before, and then coming and losing to Yota Tsuji a week later. Unless there's Don Callis kind of shenanigans, which should not be happening on this show, where somehow they interfere with him. I feel like that's a possibility. But everything about this, Yota Tsuji talking about bringing the V4 back, that they don't really have rights to. All the mouthing off that he's doing is trying to come off as like a main eventer, but everything about it just makes me very, very nervous.
Again, we're talking about if we want to have any kind of a boom period, you can't do it with a champion on somebody else's TV show.
Totally nervous about it. I think there are corporate thoughts at play that think that Takeshita is the guy to go with for now. I think Tsuji should win this match, but if you were to ask me my percentages, I'm 65-35 Takeshita winning this.
Crash TV has a couple of comments. He says Fujita had his match with the Ace. Ace's penultimate match too. Yeah, his final one in Korakuen. His time is coming surely. Couldn't agree more. I think Kosei Fujita is the ace of that division. He can be what Liger was for a bunch of years. He could be what Hiromu was for a bunch of years. I think the sky's the limit with Kosei Fujita.
I think I want to add to that, Crash. I don't know if you saw our interview with Dave, but one of the last questions I asked him point blank was, do you think Fujita is the top guy in New Japan? Not top junior, top guy in 5 years. And we all came to the consensus that it's very possible that he is.
Very possible. And Brad says the way Tsuji's talking, going at AEW, bringing up the V4 belts, like he's setting fans up for Big Takeshi to win. Guys, don't do it. Don't do it, New Japan.
All of it is just bad, man. All of it is just...
I got the willies, Jeremy.
You're missing the forest for the trees here.
I got the willies here, Jeremy, because really, I mean, there's just so much evidence that this isn't working. So much evidence.
Willie won't go.
It's objectively one of the worst business years they've had in a long time, and they can't keep making mistakes. Like, they have to learn from their mistakes some point, don't they?
Yes, they do. I don't know if it's going to be today, though. With that said, I do want to point out this has the chance to be the best match on this card.
It has a chance. All right. And then the main event, of course. And a matter of fact, I think this match is the semi-main event. Well, we've talked about that too. Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Kazuchika Okada in Hiroshi Tanahashi's retirement match. Whoever wins this, I don't care. I just hope they play kind of the greatest hits and do what they can. It's not going to be the classics of the past. Their bodies won't allow it. But the nostalgia factor will be strong. It'll be very cool to see Okada back in New Japan. But Jeremy, the main event of this show is the retirement ceremony of Hiroshi Tanahashi. So I hope they go out there and do something good, something that's fun, something that hits the high points of their rivalry, some of the moves and all that. And then afterwards, have your Kleenex at the ready. This is going to be a tearjerker.
It will be a tearjerker. I am physically, emotionally, and mentally unprepared for this Tanahashi event, but they're already going hard. They've already advertised Omega and Ospreay are going to be there for the retirement ceremony. You don't announce that unless like you have big plans and big stuff. This thing can go 45 minutes to an hour just on its own like ceremony thing. This is not going to be like 10 minutes clapping. Okay, bye everybody. This is going to be an emotionally devastating moment for a lot of people in pro wrestling.
Yeah. And I would imagine that most of the roster that's not just full on 100% heel will be out there as well. And we might even see some guys who are kind of heels out there, kind of giving a kayfabe sideways glance of respect to them, that type of stuff too.
Holy crap, Steven. I can't believe we didn't have any internet issues for me at this hotel room for almost 2 hours.
How about props to the Tokyo Dome Hotel, everybody, for having a nice little strong connection right there. That's very nice. Crash TV says, injected into my veins, says me. Injected into my knees, cries Ace. Yes. Well, that's something we mentioned on the Meltzer Show, that if we hear about the great Japanese cortisone shortage of 2026, we will all know what happened. Might get wild with some cameos in the retirement ceremonies as well, says Flaming Shark. You never know. This could be something else. I'd imagine we'll probably see some stars from the past and all that. So it's going to be a night. That's going to be the emotional roller coaster of the evening to go after all that action. So yeah.
And so a reminder to everybody, if you are looking for our recap show, you will not be waiting until next Thursday.
Heck no.
We're going to be coming back the following morning or the following afternoon after Wrestle Kingdom airs on Sunday, and we will be doing a show and we'll be talking all of that. So
Sunday at our regular time, we would be right back here to talk same day in the States about the Tokyo Dome show, Wrestle Kingdom 20. We will break down every moment, match by match, ceremony by ceremony, any surprises. It will all be analyzed right here. And speaking of Strong Style, it's your best place to go to get all that.
So Steven, I got stuff to do today. Let's get us out.
Yeah, you do. You got to get to Abritas. You got to hit the bars, Jeremy. That's what you got to do.
You got to go shopping.
Brad wants Izuka making his way through the crowd. We can see that. All right. So with that in mind, I just want to say thank you to everybody who joined us live here. The chats were a lot of fun. We appreciate your comments for everybody that joined us here live. And even if you didn't,
I should do more shows from Japan apparently.
And Esteban says, great show, guys. Thank you. We've been having a blast doing this stuff. Leading up to this show, the Wrestle Kingdom preparations have been a lot of fun for all of us, I think, giving us a little boost of energy after a kind of a dismal year in a lot of ways, 2025.
There's also an interesting thing about the show on Monday or Sunday for me. This is episode 199, isn't it?
199. Our 200th episode will be the recap.
200th episode is going to be the Wrestle Kingdom recap.
How about that?
We didn't plan it that way, but hey, I'm here for it.
It all worked out. All right. So with that in mind, again, thanks for those of you listening later as a podcast or watching this YouTube video later. We appreciate you too. We know there's a lot of places you can spend your time. We're grateful you spend it with us. So we're going to sign off for now. We'll be back on Sunday. So just a few days away from the big Wrestle Kingdom 20 show. For Jeremy Finestone, I'm Steven Conway. This has been Speaking of Strong Style, and we will talk to you again real soon.